All right, here we go. The next topic in Unit 9 and the last topic in Unit 9 is taking scatter plots and doing what we're going to call interpretation and conjecture. Or you could say that what we're talking about today is interpretation and conjecture with scatter plots. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a scatter plot and we're going to interpret it, and we're going to make conjectures about it. Let's start with interpretation. Interpretation means making a conclusion about the data, and I think you know what a conclusion is. A conclusion is when you look at something and you come up with what the point of it is, right? So if you look at this data, it's talking about how many dollars certain companies spent on advertising and then how much they sold. So if I wanted to make a conclusion using this scatter plot, I would look and see that there's positive correlation here, and that means the more a company spends on advertising, the more stuff they sell. That's a conclusion that you can come to based on this scatter plot. We're kind of interpreting what we're seeing with our eyes so that we can make some kind of a statement about it. Is that the only conclusion that you might make about this data? No, you could probably come up with a whole bunch of other conclusions. But when we interpret, we're coming to some kind of a conclusion. Okay, easy enough. What about conjecture with scatter plots? Conjecture is kind of a fun word to say, but what does it mean? Well, a conjecture is just an educated guess or a hypothesis. Okay, so if you look at this scatter plot and you see where the dots are, could we make some kind of an educated guess or a hypothesis? Yeah, what we could do is something like this. We could make an educated guess that if a company maybe spent $7,000 on advertising, they might have sales of about 120 or more. And how did we come to that conjecture? How did we make that hypothesis or that educated guess? We just kind of put a dot that follows along with the pattern of those other dots, and then we just made a conclusion about where that dot is. So conjecture is just an educated guess or an estimation of how to extend that scatter plot and get maybe a projection or a guess about what might happen in the future or with other data. So that's really pretty much all we have to say about conjecture with scatter plots. This is going to be a short video, but I do have a few practice problems for you to do. First, what does it mean to interpret a scatter plot? Just rewind this video a minute or two and you'll find that answer pretty quick. Second, what is a conjecture? Again, you can find that out pretty quick. So maybe pause the video right now, jot down your answers to those two quick questions. And then wait, I've got more practice problems like this. Number 3, if I give you this scatter plot about how much some students studied and what they got on their test after they studied, give me a conclusion. What's the point? And then, finally, make a conjecture, an educated guess, a hypothesis about what kind of a test score somebody who studied for 4 hours might expect to get. Conclusions, conjectures. That's the main point of this, and we are done.